Hey there, welcome to the table. I already made a mistake, and it was one of the mistakes that I said, hey, I got to restart because I've been doing this wrong. And the reason I made the mistake is because we've played for so many hours where I forgot to do this step, and then I forgot to do it again, but I caught it. And we're gonna have to retcon one of our attacks because of it, but let's talk about that. When the Soviets do their attack, any units that are in the reserve join the game. So there are two pop-up units that would have joined the attacks. So that could change the outcome of these attacks. So how does that work? And I'm going to show you real quick. Right here. Nope, that's not it. Yep, that's not it, because this is placing reserves on the map. If reserves get placed on the map from a card, that's not helping the battle. So one second, there's another section here. Oh, where are you? It's in the combat one, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to put the camera here so we can read this a little bit. So one of the steps when you're doing combat and is step one here, add active reserve units, but not when the attack is overwhelming. So we got to check that first attack, if you remember, was 7-to-1 odds. It became 8-to-1 after the combat tactic was added. An overwhelming attack is 8-to-1, or a large attack with 6-to-1. It was a large attack with at least 6-to-1. So those reserve units would not have joined that attack. Now, the reserve units would, however, have joined the other attack that was 1-to-1. So when you're adding reserve units, we check them one at a time for placement. It has to be adjacent to the hex under attack. Check. In the Soviet reserve supply, check. And I'll explain that in a second. Non-reserve unit in active front is in proximate to hex. So basically, the unit that is involved in the attack, that's part of the same army, is proximate to the hex, meaning that you can move there. So it's within the operational limit. That's going to be a check. I'm going to explain that. And it's not a German town or city. And so they prefer in a Soviet support if attack's unsupported, causing surround, not across the Dnieper, causing target to be flanked, unoccupied hex, highest hex number. So those are the tiebreakers. Okay, so what is all this saying? So everything's in Soviet supply right now. If it's saying, if it's in Soviet reserve supply, then all that means is that are we within these red squiggly lines? The whole map is reserve supply for the first 4 turns for the Soviets. So until these objective markers are removed, the whole map is in the reserve supply. So we don't have to worry about whether or not they're in front of a line or behind a line. So that's the reason why that passed. Is it proximate to a hex? So we basically got to place it in a hex that is within movement distance of the other unit that that's of the same type. So that's what that's saying. And so I believe the answer is yes here. We're going to put them in some seriously zone of control issues, but that's not what it's asking. It doesn't have to be in supply or any of that stuff. Would it violate stacking limits? No. It prefers to be in its own hex if it can. And so proximate is really the key word here. It has to be proximate to the hex that unit is. So see that pop-off unit that says we're going to have to put the original strength unit back. Because remember, we made them take a damage. So that's the original unit that was there. So the word proximate is defined in the rule book go. I know I've seen this before 100 times. Here we go. Proximate to a hex. A unit is proximate to an empty or friendly occupied hex if it has sufficient movement points to move to and enter the hex. Now, that is including zone of control rules. Okay, so we have to bear that in mind. You can't move to or enter it if you have zone of control issues. So for example, if I put this replacement unit here, that's great, but he does not have the ability to move there because of zone of control. Same with here, can't do it. I could put it here, but that doesn't help with the attack. But I can just put it right on top of the unit. So that I can at least do bare minimum. Now there's a 3 stack limit, but these are both 3 pip units. And so this one does not come on because I'm at the full pip limit there. So both of the infantry are out. This one still has to stay in the reserve. Now I could have, like, you know, it would be great to put it over here or whatever, but it can't move there. And that's the problem. You have to be able to move to the unit, to a nearest unit of its army. I could have probably placed them for this battle, no problem, but we already had an overwhelming attack. So that's how the reserve unit thing works, and I fully apologize. I completely missed that after wiping out an 8-hour game, specifically because I forgot to do this. So my apologies there. Now, here's the really good news. I already have the chits that I pulled for that battle. I never put them away because you don't discard them until you draw a darker chit. So we can redo the battle perfectly. So we're going to do that. However, the number of chits being pulled is going to change because we still have the NKVD, yes. We have 2, then this becomes 4, and then that new token adds another 2 more, which makes it 6. Then we get 1 for the NKVD for 7, and 1 for the artillery for 8. And so you're going to see here that our chits are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more because that extra unit added 2 more chits to the battle. So I'm going to add 2 more right now. 7 and 8. And now let's see how this plays out. So the good news is we already know how some of this is going to turn out. Attacker artillery, the defender is adjacent, so that happens. This must be one of the new ones. It's no longer a 3-to-1 less than, well, hold on. They have 10 points. Nope, they have 9 points, we have 4. So it's now 2-to-1 ratio. So it is still less than 3-to-1. It is greater than or equal to 2-to-1 now. It's no longer less than 2-to-1. So that goes on. That changed. This is not clear. It's not city or town, so that's out. It's not city or woods. It is clear or broken, so that's in. It is still a 1 hex attack. And we got clear and woods, so that's out. So now this is the outcome. A little bit different. You can see we have a D-1. That is needed for the NKVD hit. We took a hit for that. This D-1 cancels one of these. Or you could say we canceled both of those. The NKVD is causing us to take a hit. If you look at the situation here. This one is going to cancel that one. So NKVD will make us take a hit, and then there's 2 hits on them. So a little bit different outcome. We almost pulled through on this one, but with the extra units there. So this one, we take a hit. We have to take a step lot. Or no, the first hit is a retreat, always. So we have to retreat, and I will go onto the road. And I don't even get dispersed. It's just a retreat. The first 2 hits are retreats. So if you would retreat a second time, then you get dispersed. So we did 1 retreat, and that's not a big deal. We didn't take any damage. However, they took 2 hits. The first hit is going to hit the highest numbered unit. And since you're learning the rules, let's slow this down so you can see it. Assign Soviet step loss to the unit with the most steps, then the highest number. If you have, so they both have 3 pips. They both have the most steps. So then we choose the highest number between the 2. And then no unit can receive a second step loss until all units have at least received 1. Now, how do we know that they're taking a loss? Right here. Attacker hit, satisfy first hit as a step loss. And this is if we're taking the damage. But if it's the Soviet defenders, 1 hit at a time. If the defender can't retreat, apply hit as a step loss. I'm sorry, that's if they're a defender. Assigning hits to Soviet attackers. They were the attacker. First hit is remove a step, no matter what. So we're going to take the one with the highest number, remove a step. Then we have to look at this table. There's 1 hit left, right? Because there's 2 hits total. First hit was applied. 1 hit's left, but there's 3 pips on the one guy, and there's going to be 2 pips on the other, so there's 5 total pips. So they're saying that we will apply a hit to them, or, in parentheses, they're going to become dispersed if there's less than 4 cards in the Soviet draw pile, and the defender didn't vacate a VP hex. Otherwise, use the primary result, which is going to be they're going to take another hit. So they would go dispersed if there was less cards and there was less than 4 cards in the Soviet draw pile. There's a crap ton of cards in the Soviet draw pile. And then there was no VP hex that was vacated. So, so they're going to both take a hit, basically. So both of these pop-off units get damaged. And 41G, 35G. And then here's the 2-step version of each one. And they remain where they are. They did not retreat or do anything crazy like that. So my apologies. That was a potential catastrophic mistake to be re-recording this and to forget that particular rule. I actually, one guy was like, are you going to explain to us what you did wrong? And so I was like, yeah, I'll do that in the first video. And then there I was. I did the first video and I completely blew past it and never actually fixed it. But there we go. In video 2, we have it rectified. We had to retreat 1 space. They got an extra unit on the board, but that extra, both of those units took a step loss, which was still a good victory for us. It was the chit draw. The chits that were drawn really made the difference there. Okay, so with that out of the way, we finally get to take our turn now in Impulse 2. And I'm going to pause the video. I need to take a break. Okay, let's crack some Ruski heads. First things first. These yellow units were who I activated last time. So technically this token is used to remind yourself that you activated them. So I cannot activate them again. That's the one thing I'm forbidden from doing. But I can do the other 3. So I have the purple one. Remember that guy I thought was going to be surrounded? We can get him out of dodge. I have a green one, which these engineer event, I can put some markers down to help protect my guys from taking damage. Then I have this orange one, which these units over here are pretty powerful, and I could probably muster an attack on something. These 2 guys took damage, but they're still pretty strong. I don't know how much I'd be able to hurt them, but I definitely can have them surrounded and flanked and all that jazz. All of these are good options. So the question is, which one is the best? And I don't know the answer. The improvement markers would help the white units to not take damage, or even this one over here to not take damage, because the improvement markers also would help these guys. Like I can put them along the river, and but I'm feeling like I want to improve. Actually, you can't improve a town, so this is the only one that's eligible for improvement, but it's still an excellent one to improve. I feel like I want to save my purple unit before it's too late. Although I want to at least look at this potential here. They put that extra unit there, and I want to know if I can just punch them hard. So I have 3, 7, 11, 14. They have 6. So that would be, that's only 2-to-1 odds because you round down. It's not the best. I mean, I can give them air power, like I can play a card that gives air power or even artillery. Like I can do things to help, but it's not the best. There is this card here, which is well, I can't use the reinforced battle, it's only pull out. Yeah, it's not the best combat odds, although I would like to do it. I think saving my other unit is more ideal. So I'm going to play the purple. We're going to activate the purple units. So I want to get out of dodge. This guy has 6 movement right here, and I can't go in zone of control. I have to worry about that, but I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I can just stay in that city. And then now I've got this road protected, and the city absorbs hits, by the way. That's being in the city is almost like having an improvement marker. So now I'm essentially sitting on an improvement marker. Now, if I move back one more space, the woods is not bad, but then they're in the city when they get to attack me. There's no advantage there. So, unfortunately, that's all I'm doing. So, it doesn't sound very exciting. But I think that's I would really regret it if I would have lost that unit. So I have to play conservatively. We're moving back. We need to protect the river. So here's our next one. So we drew the white card. So now we can activate our white units and maybe get them saved. We'll see. The green unit, we can also try to save the green unit as well. Right? So we got a green unit there. We got several units we need to pull back. We just need to survive these turns that they're doing. So 1 second, caffeine break. So now it's their turn. So we're going to draw 2 cards for them. Okay, they're both C3, so you got to use the bottom number. This one is the primary, that's the auxiliary. So the auxiliary is assault coordination. That can be really bad. Assault coordination means it's going to use adjacent units, even if they're not activated, to join the battle. So we'll put that down. But the primary card is the 69th Army. And oh boy, did I make the right choice. So they're going to do NKVD operations. That's a special event. So they're going to do that. And this doesn't apply. They're doing this part here. And the auxiliary card is not going to help them because this is a special event. And I'll show you what that special event does as soon as I can find it. It's in the player aid. Oh boy. Here we go. Soviet special events. NKVD operations can only be done on turn 1 or 2, which is what that said. Assign 2 hits to the German unit or stack that's adjacent to Soviet units with the most total Soviet combat strength, as if combat occurred. Now, I'm assuming because it's the 69th Army, that it's units next to the 69th Army. That's the reason why Like it's a, you know, you could say, well, it's any unit on the board. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the 69th Army. The most strength, as if combat occurred. You choose the German target if more than one unit qualifies. Do not reduce hits in a city or town. Then remove one step from those, one step total from those adjacent Soviet units. Finally, if your units retreated, conduct advance after combat with those Soviet units. So it actually might be anything on the map. I hate that, but I think it might be. So here's why I was glad we removed the purple. If you recall, the purple was sitting right here, and guess what he's surrounded by? The 69th Army. The 69th Army currently has nobody next to them. So this event would apply to nobody. But I think what it's trying to say is that you pick the strongest German units, or I'm sorry, Russian units stack, and then you apply the hits to the Germans. So for example, this is 8 points. That's 6 points. 5, 7, 4. And then this is actually 11. So this is the strongest German unit right here. That's 11. So it's saying apply 2 hits to a German unit that's next to it. So this unit would take 2 hits, which would be, you know, normally it's a retreat, right? So this unit would retreat, but it's in the zone of control, so it takes a hit because it's in the zone of control. Then it would retreat again. There's no zone of control there, but it would get disrupted. So it took a damage, it's disrupted, and it's completely behind enemy lines. It's not in good shape. So then it says, remove 1 step total from those adjacent Soviet units. And then finally, if your units retreated, conduct advance after combat with those units. These units are not going to advance this way. This is the wrong direction. But we do get to apply a hit to these guys, and this is amazing. So they both have 3 pips, so we do the one with the highest number, which is this one. And being able to do damage to this for free, damaging this one once and damaging this one once, I'll take that deal all the time. So it is number 10 from the pop-off. So we got them reduced back. That used to be a 5 strength unit, now it's only a 3 strength unit. I'm very happy with that result. So the NKVD is good. Now, my good friend JB, in the previous game, I applied a hit to all the units, and he cried BS. And I want JB to know that I agree. It was BS. So what it says is remove 1 step, and I read it as remove 1 step from those adjacent units. So I removed 1 step from every adjacent unit, but it says 1 step total. So you would just remove 1 step total from those adjacent units. You could still read that as I'm going to remove 1 step from 1 unit, and then I'm going to remove 1 step from the other unit. That was 1 step total for each of the units. So I'm going to go with JB here and say that it was 1 step total, meaning that no matter how many units were in that stack, only one of them loses a step. So otherwise, this event would make no sense for them. So thank you, JB, for pointing that out. I think the rules could have been written better. But it makes no sense any other way. So the good news is, well, no, that's not good news. Oh yeah, the good news is their turn is over. I forgot again, the auxiliary card has this event, command delay. And if you remember, that command delay is that it gets reshuffled back into the command deck. So we got to do that. So their impulse is over. That auxiliary was not going to apply to the attack, no matter what the attack was going to be. All right, so it is our turn again. So far, we've been getting pretty lucky. Now, we did get the white. That white unit of ours just took some damage. We got a couple other white units that are in trouble that we can maybe retreat and it would help us. But we also have a green unit that maybe I'd like to save. Except that the green unit, I may want to use this for the engineer event. The engineer event lets us place those improvements, and that might be what I really ultimately want to do. Let's think about this. If I save this guy, I would move 1, 2, 3, 4. He would still not be in a good spot, but he would at least be far enough away from those jerks that they couldn't just attack him outright. The white units, if I save that one, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4 along the road. All he would do is delay his inevitable demise. But this one over here, I know it's off on the left side of the camera. If I move him into the woods, that's actually a good spot. It's a nice defensive spot that chokeholds the left side so nobody can go down the road and get to this objective. I do want to do that. I just don't know when. And it's a really weak unit to boot. So if I did the improvements with the engineers, I can leave that green unit up there and just put an improvement marker on him, and that would actually be pretty good because it would absorb a hit and make him survive longer. So what is the right thing to do? I don't know, is the answer. I'm going to activate the white units. So we're going to do this one. So I'm going to activate all core rows. I don't know how to pronounce that. We're going to activate all the white units. I may regret it, but I think this is the right thing to do. That green unit is between two different Soviet armies. So the chances of him being attacked hard would require a reinforced battle or some kind of thing that would allow another army to join the battle. But the white units are in the middle of a single army and they can get trounced. So what happens is, we're going to start with the left here. I am going to move back and into the forest, which is the best defensive position I can take to guard this area. This one here, who's already in the forest, he's guarding these zone of controls. The disruption marker goes away. So he's no longer impaired by that. So now, they're not strong units, don't get me wrong. They could probably still get overwhelmed, and ultimately, I would like them to be on the same stack, but, and I considered moving them like this. So they're on this stack, but then they can just go right down the road and ignore this unit. I can't do that. If anything, I need to move this later and get it back to here. Or what's going to happen is he'll get damaged and then retreat twice. That's what I think is going to happen. If we move over here, this unit is going to lose its disruption, even though it's super weak and damaged. And then this unit, I am going to retreat, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to try to get into this wood zone here. And basically, I'm trying to protect the pathway that goes across this bridge. We're basically trying to keep them from breaking. I don't want them crossing the river. That's really what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, 4 movement points wasn't enough, and I cannot do strategic movement yet, so that won't work. So that's the end of my turn. I draw back up to my hand size, and the last, well, there's 2 cards left, but I got another purple card, so we'll take that into consideration. And now it's the Russian turn. Okay, we are going to draw 2 cards for the Russians. Here they are. They're both tied. So E11 is less than E15, so this one is going to happen. And before I put this in the auxiliary box, the command delay means this is going to get reshuffled back in. So it doesn't get reshuffled in if there's less than 4 cards in the draw pile, but there's 4 cards or more here. So we're shuffling it back in. And so that means that the biggest thing, so it's helpful and it's hurtful. So because it's getting shuffled back in, it means the Russians are going to take a lot more turns before this game turn is over, before this day is over, or however you want to refer to it. But it is nice because there isn't a auxiliary card providing a combat tactic that's automatically supporting the primary command. That combat tactic can be brutal. So so that part's nice. So with that being said, the 6th Army is this army here with the green background, which was the one that was surrounding the white units that we just had. So the only action available to us is activate all units in the army. So we're going to do exactly that. And there probably will be some attacking, but let's go ahead and put this out here. All right, so the green units are these ones. And I'm going to read to you what the player aid says. Instead of showing it like I did initially, it'll go a little quicker. There's less camera moving back and forth. But one thing I did want to point out, if you're new, there is this movement order that's done 1 through 4, and it goes down the panel, right? But if you flip this over, there's another set of movement orders that don't occur until turn 5 or turn 6, or if all the if the objective markers are met. It could happen before turn 5. That's actually what happened in my last game. But we're not going to let that happen because I'm not going to play so awful this time. Okay, so here we go. The first step is we always check, is anybody from here near their objective? The objective they're going for is off the camera to the south. They're nowhere near it. So that's always done no matter what. Next, can they take a VP hex? And so what they're asking is, can they take a VP hex that is empty? And the answer is no. So we're going to skip that. Can they go adjacent to a German VP hex that's near their objective? And they define near their objective to be within 4 hexes. Well, like I said, their objective is way down here. They're part of the Southwest Front. 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes takes you to here, and you would do like a little radius around. They cannot get to any VP hexes. Can they open a supply line? This would be for their own units. All 3 of them are in supply. They're all connected to a road that goes off a map that's a Soviet Edge map. Can they cause surround? And the answer is yes. It's highest number first. So we would start with number 7 here. I'm sorry, number 13. The answer is yes. If this 13 goes backwards, he surrounds this unit. And how is that unit surrounded? Every zone of control around the unit is Russian. This is the Russian edge, so it doesn't help him. So he's in bad shape. So they basically, he moved to surround that unit. Can they surround anybody else? Well, there was a white unit here that prevented them from moving this way. So actually me moving the white unit out of the way could be a potential problem. With 4 movement points, this guy could go 1, 2, 3, like that, and that does surround this unit because now all the zone of controls, this unit is now surrounded, unfortunately. So yes, they were able to surround. Can either of these surround something? If a unit's already surrounded, then the answer is no. There is another unit here, but neither of these could get to the other side of this to surround this unit. And we did talk about moving that green guy out of the way. It was a choice. I had to save the white or the green. I chose the white, and I may have chose poorly, but we're going to figure this out. So then, can they go adjacent to a German VP hex? There is a German VP hex over here. So they could try to do that. And it has to be targeted for the active front. So this VP hex has the orange circle around it. So it is the active front for them. So this one, for example, can move 1, 2, 3 and get adjacent to that VP hex. And then this one could move, but we got to check one more thing. Got to check one more thing before we do that move. There are, at the end of the movement rules, restrictions to the movement. So do not cause non-isolated German units to become unsurrounded. So basically, if a German unit is surrounded, never leave. Do not cause a unit proximate to, so these are all turn 4. Do not vacate map edge VP hex in Soviet supply. So, what is a map edge VP hex? I think, because I'm like, that map edge VP hexes are these. See those VP hexes that are on the map edge? So do not vacate those. What I was looking for is this particular unit is vacating a VP hex if it moves. And that's the problem I was looking at. So this is not a map edge VP. So it can move. So it would go, this one's a number 8. I don't know why I didn't move that one. That one would have moved here. So yeah, we can move all 3 of these to be next to a VP that's in their target zone. Now, when we do that, it does try to give priority. It says move to empty or garrison Soviet VP hex targeted for active front, which a German unit is proximate or in supply. Prefer a hex adjacent to a German unit and prefer an empty hex. So, for example, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of these, number 4 here, sorry, 7 would have moved first, 4 would have moved second. Then this guy's coming in and he can just pick one. So we'll go ahead and pick that one. And the next one that it prefers infantry unable to move. No. Okay, I made a mistake. Let me show you. It's easy to retcon, but I just wanted to show you. So we were doing this one, move adjacent to a German VP hex. But right here, moving to a Soviet VP hex, that's one that they already control. So move to an empty or garrison Soviet VP hex targeted for active front to which the German unit is proximate, meaning that a German unit could move in there. And it says that infantry already in the VP hex with armor doesn't move by any method. Okay, it's not there with armor though. I don't know what the armor thing means, but it would move there. Prefer hex that's adjacent to the German unit, empty, highest VPs, infantry unable to move to empty garrison unit, moves to a VP hex occupied solely by the Soviet armor. That's what it's saying. Okay, so one of these units would have stayed home, is what I'm trying to get at. So whichever unit was on this location would stay there. They're all 2 pips, so it doesn't matter too much, but I'm gonna put the lowest numbered one back because he would have moved last. He would stay there because this German is proximate, meaning that German could move there. now that he's surrounded, he technically can't move there. With that being said, he could abandon it, right? Because proximate means that they physically can move there. And that's not the case here. So he actually would move. Because that German unit right now cannot go there even if he wanted to. And in fact, no German unit can go there. And that's the basis for them not going into that spot, if you will. All right, so I did not make a mistake, but boy, that's some of the decision making you have to do in this game. And yeah, I'm like second guessing myself as I'm saying it. It's really tricky to rock a rhyme that's right on time, right? It's tricky. Okay, so their turn is over. Oh no, their turn's not over. They then determine if they're going to attack. Now this one here would be attacking one-on-one alone. Even though this guy's next to it, he doesn't necessarily join the attack unless they get the right battle tactic. So a one-on-one odd requires us to go through that checklist again. And this time the card is only a 3 on the top left. So they get 3 points. And remember, they got to get to 7. And I need to find the checklist. All right. So here we go. The ratio was 1-to-1. The command card is 3. This one's not apply. The Soviet barrage bonus applies, so that becomes 4. It is in Soviet support, so it becomes 5. The Soviets do not have armor. Are any of the attacking units surrounded? No, it's not whether I'm surrounded, it's whether they are. And they're basically trying to save a unit that's surrounded. Will flanking apply? Yes, they completely have me surrounded. So 3, 4, 5. We're at 5 points out of 7. Is it a target VP hex? No. Will the auxiliary card provide a tactic? No. Is there less than 4? No. There will be no attack because they did not get to 7. Okay, so that unit is done. So now we're going to go look at this unit up here. So see, we caused surround up there, but it's again 1-to-1. So the unit on the left is a 2, and then our white unit is a 2. And I can already tell you it's not going to happen. It's going to actually be the exact same result. They're going to get 3 for this. They're going to get 1 for the artillery barrage, and then 1. In fact, it's not even flanked, so they're not even going to get 1 point for that, and then they're not going to get to 7. So that's not happening. Now, the unit that's in this VP marker, that one might be in trouble. So we have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 points. Right? So they got 11 points to 3. So that's 3-to-1 odds. However, we are in a town, which is considered an improved position. So that 3 of ours becomes a 4. So that is no longer 3-to-1. That's now something less than 3-to-1. So we have to do this again. So again, the command value is 3. The situational strength is still better than 2-to-1 because even at 4, that would be, yeah, definitely 2-to-1. So that becomes 5. That adds 2 more points. The barrage bonus gets them to 6, and they are in support, so they get to 7. So they got their 7 points. They will attack that particular city. Now, one thing that I regret is I needed to have a unit next to them because having a supporting unit next to them really does make a difference. I'm a little nervous about this one. So we're going to draw a card and see what battle tactic they could possibly have. And they're getting artillery and air power. Holy buckets. I will tell you, though, that the activating all units and mobile group pop-off stinks as well. But they're adding 2, artillery and air power. So technically, they already have artillery. So I guess you could just assume that they just added air power. So here we go. We got 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 for the pips, 1 for each of these that are 2 pips each. So that's up to 5 chits, and then 1 for every combat tactic. Artillery and air power is 6 and 7. The fact that the barrage artillery is there, we ignore any other artillery during this time. So that puts them to 7. And then, is there anything else? The rest of them are if they're out of supply or isolated. So nothing else. So they're going to draw 7 chits. And we could, for example, add reinforced battle. I may actually do this, and I should. Well, I don't know if I can get there, because technically they're surrounded. So by doing reinforced battle, I can move a unit onto that hex to help them get more strength. But here's the problem. If I move here, I can't move there because he has zone of control. So they basically have it so I can't help them even if I wanted to. Now, I could choose to do artillery, which is the green one, because the green unit is surrounded, but I'm not going to do that either. I could do this one because the yellow units have nobody to fight. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to provide air power for us. That's going to counteract their air power. So then it's whichever air power has the P on it is going to be the one that happens. But this card's not going to do anything for us otherwise unless I want to activate any one unit, which... I don't know what to do. I really don't want to lose this battle is what I'm trying to say. Will the air power make a difference? I hate wasting a card and then air power may not even come out. We're only drawing 7 chits. If we were drawing 14, there would be a better chance that air power would matter. I'm going to pull it back. We're going to just draw the 7 and live with whatever happens. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I see the air power thing right there, you jerk. 6, 7. Okay, well here's the deal. The air power, if both sides are true, it uses the one with the P. So we would have lost anyways. So this is happening. That's a hit against us. Dispersed, unsupplied. Combat engineer, none of those apply. Only the attacker has armor. Nobody has armor. Another armor 1. So that's out. Attacker command. The command for this card was 3. So it's not a 1. It's a 3, 4, or 5. There is no flank attack against a town or against a city, but this is a town. So the flank attack does happen. Yeah, we're taking another hit. And then LP crossfire or attack not supported. Or I'm sorry, IP crossfire. So this is an improved position for the German. There is actually a defect on Board Game Geek. This is only applicable if the German is the defender. It's not applicable if the Russian's the defender. Now we got to look up, is the town considered an improved position for the purposes of this? And that's what I got to look up real quick. It says it applies if the defender's in an improved position, but now we got to see if that counts as an improved position, because that does matter a lot, in fact. Every town and city is considered owned by the Soviets or Germans, even if not occupied by a unit. Ownership from that point forward, the town or city is owned by the side. Ownership of town and city is not affected by enemy zone of control. Okay, so there was nothing on BGG about, this is specific to an improved position. So towns and cities act like improved positions, and they're even in the improved positions section. So, for example, if you go to page 43 of the rule book, it says towns, cities, and improved positions, but improved positions is its own separate section from towns and cities, even though they behave almost identically. I'm going to take it literally that the town is not an improved position, so this doesn't apply. But the other thing that happens is that towns can't be flanked, so this does not apply either. But it's also not a city, so that side doesn't apply. So we eliminated 2 of them. But here we're going to take 2 hits, the G1 and the D1. So that's bad because we are technically surrounded. So the first hit, even though the 2 hits are retreats, we're going to retreat 1 space, but then we're going to, sorry about that, it's my dog. We're going to retreat 1 space, but we take a damage because we're surrounded, and then we become disrupted. And it's only this unit that's disrupted, so I'm going to put it on top like that. That was very, very unfortunate. So now starting with the lowest unit, they're going to move in and take the victory point from us. Man, that last playthrough I did horrible, but I never lost that town in the last playthrough. But it's also because I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to use this action, and I waited too long. So that's extremely unfortunate. So we're going to do that. Then the next unit is going to roll a die to see if he moves in, and the answer is yes. So it would be this one, and then the 3rd unit will not move in. So to slow it down a little bit, we do, for retreats and advances, if there's no units in the location, they advance no matter what if it's a VP. Let's see, hex enabling supply across the river, close, if advancing, oh, right here, the first one, VP, hex. So first one advances no matter what. I rolled a die once there was 1 unit in there. I rolled a die to see if the 2nd unit would go in. And now that there's 2 units in there, they never go in, even if there's room for them. So that's why we did it the way we did. All right, it's our turn now. And I don't like that outcome that just happened. I really needed to hold that town, and that was my fault. But you have to pick, last time I lost this. Like at this point in the game, there were already units down here. So this time around, I'm not doing as strong over there. And I guess you pick your poisons, right? So if anything, I'm going to go ahead and end my turn right now because there's lots of noise. And I'll resume in a little bit. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome.